Well, hello everyone, and welcome to All That Matters, a family life program sponsored by the Coconut Grove Seventh-day Adventist Church. Today we continue our singles conversation. Is it fun? Is it daunting? Is it challenging? Or is it embarrassing to acknowledge when you get to a particular age? Today we have with us Kathy Volcy, and we are hoping that with her, in conversation with her, you are going to get a better insight as to whether it is daunting, whether it is challenging, and hopefully the information will be edifying to our viewers today. So welcome, Kathy. Thank you for
Thank you.
accepting our invitation.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes, and to start off, can you just tell us a little more about yourself?
Well, I am a single individual living in Florida. I am currently in grad school, also working full time. So the dating world has been a little bit, I guess I would say, a little daunting.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I guess that's all I can say about myself.
Okay,
So I
perhaps
guess we'll go deeper. Right.
exactly. So let's start with the question. Do you think that there's a soulmate for everyone?
Ooh, soulmate. I think
Mm-hmm.
that I guess I wouldn't necessarily say there's a soulmate for everyone. I think that the decisions we make in life as we go through this journey,
Mm-hmm.
things may change. God may have had someone in mind for you and placed someone for you, but based on experiences, life experiences, or the decisions we made, whether we derail from that plan that God has for us, that may have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that God may have someone that is perfect for you where you are. But I wouldn't say that, from the time you were born, there's this person who is there for you and specifically for you. I think it changes over time based on where you are in
Okay.
life.
Okay. So I want to believe that you have in your mind the type of person that you want to settle with, right? So
Hmm.
can you just disclose a little bit more as to, that type of person? What are you looking for in an individual?
Well, for me, when I think of the ideal husband or person for me, dating and being in a relationship with, I think of someone who is God fearing, someone who is a natural leader, who loves family, not just your family that you're born into, but like the church family, your community, someone who have a passion for a change in the world and not just for themselves is
Mm-hmm.
someone that is a candidate for me, I guess I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, I try to get away from the list that we as females or just an individual we have, because things change, and as you get into a relationship, you realize some of the things that you may have been looking for may not be as important as it to sustain that relationship.
Okay.
So the God first, someone who loved God before they even love me, is
Mm-hmm.
something that I look for. Family, those are something that's very, very important to me to even be
Okay.
like in my mind.
Okay. Listening to some of the verbs that you use, I get the indication that there's been experience.
Yeah, I've had some experience, I think.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier the word daunting.
Mhm.
How daunting were your experiences or experience?
I guess I use the word daunting because I guess that's where my mind is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like when you in a relationship, you are vulnerable. You are exposing yourself. You are getting to know the other person. So you are revealing some things about yourself that maybe some other individuals may not know. And now that the relationship doesn't work, so now it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, ugh, now I have to start over again. And just I
Okay.
think that process. So
Mm-hmm.
relationship and dating itself, but the
Mm-hmm.
process of starting over and dating someone and finding some things out that that may not be ideal for you, and then just
Mm-hmm.
having to do that over again, or just
Mm-hmm.
thinking about doing it over again is can be
Mm-hmm.
a little bit daunting or exhausting. I guess that would be a better term.
Okay. Um, let's talk about disclosing information about yourself to the opposite sex in terms of a timely manner. Do you think that there is an appropriate time to disclose particular things about yourself to a person of interest, whether there are certain things that you should wait to disclose after maybe a serious commitment, like there's a ring or there is a date for marriage, or even wait until marriage to disclose certain things. Whereas during the initial stages of your dating, that you disclose particular things about yourself. What do you think about that?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that there's a time frame from when you start talking to someone for you to disclose certain information, because it's all about the connection. A lot of time you may be disclosing information that is very personal at a very early on because of the connection you have with that individual. It feels like you've known that person for so long, but you've only been together or dating for about a month or two. But I do believe that there is certain things in your life, in your family, that there, it should be held on till you are in a very serious relationship, committed to one another. Because you don't want to expose too much about your family or your personal private information to someone that you're not really sure if that relationship will continue on for, to go to marriage. So I do feel like there's certain things, but I think that you should be very open and vulnerable when you are dating someone, because dating as a Christian, you're dating for marriage, so you should already have that in mind.
You made mention of the connection is important. Should it be a unilateral thing, or should it just be based on, I just feel that way, so I'm going to disclose everything to that person?
Well, I guess I would speak for myself. I'm a pretty open person. So, and it's very, very hard for me to lie or to kind of like derail from the question. So if someone asks me a question, I'm very open to disclose whatever it is, especially in a relationship. I'm a relationship person. And if I'm dating you and I'm committed to you, then I see you as someone that I would like to be my husband. That may have changed throughout the relationship, but I'm open to disclosing information about me. Like there's maybe like certain things about like, family secret or family stuff that you may not want to disclose very early on because it may involve other people. But for me, I'm pretty open to disclosing information.
Okay, so you know what you're looking for, right? You made mention of a few of these things. What is it that you personally have to bring into the relationship? Somebody may be looking at you and say, "Oh, I like her. I like her. She seems, personable and things." What do you have to bring into that relationship?
Well, I think that, with people, they prioritize different things, different traits. But for me, I know that something for me is like my heart, my commitment to ministry, my commitment to God and to serving others. So I think that I always like to describe myself as an old-fashioned relationship, and I think those are the relationship that is sustainable. They are the one that lasts for like 50, 60 years.
Okay.
So I have those values, and I'm a very caring person. I'm very homey, and I think that anyone that I've come in contact with, they feel at home, they feel comfortable with me, and that's something that is needed. I feel like it needs in a relationship for that other individual to feel.
Okay. So, what specifically have your upbringing helped you with in terms of in that journey?
Well, I grew up in a Haitian household. And so with the Haitian culture, or just Caribbeans, I guess I would say, for females, they groom you to be like this wife, this, that's the first thing, they start teaching you how to cook, how to do this, how to take care of a home.
And you guys cook pretty well.
Yeah. So I think that at a very, very young age, I've had those responsibility of how to maintain a home, how to care for, my younger siblings and, my mother and her, later on her life. And so I think those experiences and those, I guess, traditions and cultural things have definitely shaped me and who I am and how I move in a relationship.
Okay, in terms of academics, right? You seem to be accomplished and you're still pursuing your education, right? What about finance? Would that be a factor when you meet an individual, or does it not matter to you at all? And I'm talking about whether the person is financially sustainable for himself as well as for you. Does it matter to you?
That's so funny you asked that question. I've had a conversation like that yesterday. But for me personally, I don't necessarily care for that. I have a great job. I'm able to sustain myself. I don't need a guy to come to pay my bills, to do this for me. I'm able to provide financially for myself. I think that what I look more in a male, in a husband to be is the drive that you have, your passion. Like, are you someone who's complacent, or are you someone who always feel like there's growth that needs to be made? And I think that someone like that, you can never be poor, because you're always thinking about different things that you can be doing, different ways that you can improve, personally, as a couple, as a family. So I think that it's not a big thing. I don't care how much money he has in a bank, or if he has money, can he buy me these expensive stuff? I think that those are not really important.
Okay.
It's more about that.
Okay. Let's qualify that a little more. In the American society, right? We know that credit is a big deal. Okay, it's a big issue. It helps you move forward. Would you say that that does not matter to you?
Well, I think that that's something that needs to be discussed early on, or in the relationship, as it goes towards, like, commitment, and going towards marriage. Those conversations needs to be had. But I don't know how, like, in a scale from 1 to 10, how important it is for me. I think like a 6 or a 7. So I don't know if that kind of like put into perspective. Okay. Because, if you get married and you're trying to buy a home and you're unable to do that, I think that the communication needs to be take place. And so now, as we're dating, we're finding different steps, different ways that we can improve the credit, so we can be able to set ourselves up for success in a marriage.
Okay. Are you currently happy being single?
I think right now I'm in a good space. I feel like if I say I'm happy being single, that means that I want to stay single. So I'm not happy being single. I would love to be in a relationship and, work towards getting married. So I'm in a good space. Mentally, I'm good, but that.
Okay, but are you saying that there is a sense of incompleteness being single?
Oh no, I would not say that at all. Okay. I wouldn't say that. I feel like I have to be complete for me to be able to be myself, my full authentic self, with someone else. No, I don't inspire that my significant other would complete me. I'm already complete. And so that's where like I'm in a good space. I feel like I'm complete. I'm growing and learning about myself, with the help of God. But
you come across as a very strong, focused woman.
Yeah.
Okay. In your past experiences, right? In dating, has it been an issue?
What has been an issue?
You being certain as to what you want in life, and you're gonna go for exactly that thing, being strong. Is it an issue for the opposite sex?
I don't think it's an issue, because you want to know what you desire, what you like, what you don't like. I think that it just helps you to sort out the no's. So I don't think it has been an issue per se.
Okay, and before we take our break, let's talk about you pursuing your education, and you working also, right? How are you able to balance that, and even your home life too? How are you able to balance that and trying to find the right person for you?
I think it's prioritizing, as well as having that good management being able to separate, work from personal life and education and dating, and making time for that person that you are seeing. I'm big believer in, you make time for what you want. So even if you have a hectic schedule, you can find 5 minutes to just be able to have that conversation, to connect with that individual. Yeah.
Are your friends helping you to find someone?
My friends, yes. I think that's my friends, family, people, they've always, having something to say and making sure. But yeah, they're big supporter on that.
Okay. Oh, I like the word you used. You said support, meaning I was going to ask you about pressure. Is there any pressure there?
Oh,
But you
I
use
would
the word
say
support. So, but help us understand, is there any pressure there?
any pressure to
Yeah, from your
go ahead
friends,
and
your family members in finding someone, connecting with someone. Yes.
I think there's pressure and support. The pressure to go ahead, hurry up, and we want you to be in a marriage and have kids and all that. And some of them want you to have what they have. So that's where some of that pressure, like, okay, well, are you just being too picky, or
Right.
but also that support when I've been in a relationship, I've gotten that support from my friends and family, to, whatever decision that I make, they're very supportive of that. So.
Okay. Okay. And we're still in COVID, and it's not the typical way to go looking for someone anymore, right? Mainly on your computer, or for your friends, for your family members. Do you find the experience through COVID a little more daunting?
I think it's a little bit harder when I work from home. During COVID, I was going to school from home as well. So I wasn't getting out of the house at all, besides walking the dog. So you're not meeting anyone new. It's just people that you've already known already. So I guess that it's just COVID makes it a little bit harder.
Okay. Okay. And I'm getting that you have a dog.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. Really nice, really nice. Okay, so we are up for a break. We will be right back, everyone, with Kathy Volcy. We're having such an interesting conversation, and we'll continue after the break.
This is your prayer coordinator, Ella E. Brady, coming from Coconut Grove SDA Prayer Line and Worship Service. If you need prayer for anything, just give us a call. We'll pray with you and for you. Prayer is the key that opens heaven's storehouse. Call Elder Brady anytime at 305-252-2614 or online at 313-209-8800. Code 987-6511 between 7 and 8 a.m. God bless.
Welcome back, everyone, to All That Matters. Our single conversation continues with Kathy, and Kathy will continue with this conversation. Do you think it's easier for men than women being single?
Oh, yes. I definitely think it's easier. I think the ratio from men to women is disproportion. So men have more options than we do.
And you're right. You made mention of the statistics. We have more women than men, right? And they have the option to choose. But knowing that this statistics is there and it is real, when it comes to choosing, how careful are you then? Because the pool is so small, right?
Yeah. The pool is so small, but I'm a big believer in that, you not to settle. I think that once you have talked to God and you know what you want, you know what he wants for you. I don't think that someone should settle because of age or because of timeline is coming up. I think that you should be cautious of who you are entering into a union with, even just relationship, not even marriage, but like a relationship. You're exposing yourself. This is someone that you are around. So I think that it's very important to know who you're gonna be with. Is that person right for you? Can you have that person around your family and friends?
Mhm.
Can you vet for that person? And so
Mhm.
I think that you should still be cautious. And I
Okay.
take that into my own.
Okay. I love that. I appreciate that. What about or do you think rather that you are going to lose some of the liberties that you have as a single person when you get into that relationship? Are you thoughtful about that? Does it concern you at all?
It's not a concern for me at all. I like the type of men that I attract or that I am attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they add to more than losing.
Mm.
So I don't think that, oh, I'm gonna lose certain things, certain privilege, certain things that I have as a single. I think that a relationship do add value to your life. It adds
Mm-hmm.
value to, like, your career.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that.
Okay, okay. There's a saying that goes, well, if you've had a good relationship with your dad, hypothetically speaking, right? You've had a good relationship with your dad, and he's someone to emulate in the house. That's the type of person that you'd find a daughter gravitating towards, right? What do you think about such a statement, and does it ring true to you?
Well, a statement like that, I think that it can be situational. It can be, it's relative.
Mm-hmm.
I personally myself did not or don't have a good relationship with my father, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
see myself gravitating towards men that that emulate some of the things that I did not like. I
Mm-hmm.
think that for me, as I always say that I became a Christian after, not too long ago. I was born
Mm-hmm.
into Seventh-day Adventist, into
Mm-hmm.
Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
but I personally myself found God, and I've learned what a father should be like. I gotten all that from him.
Mm-hmm.
So in my search, I look for someone who emulates some of the qualities that, when he was on earth as Jesus Christ, that he had. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
qualities that God has is what I look for in a man. So I think that it could be when I think of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it can differ. It's true for some individuals.
Okay. Looking at you, I can see and appreciate why men would want to gravitate to you. Not just your beauty, but your thinking, the way you come across, right? And given the fact that both men and women, right, we go through wanting the opposite sex, copulating with the opposite sex, right? As a young woman, how do you help to, um, um, I don't want to use the word suppress, but how do you not give in to such feelings?
Goodness, it's very hard. It's very hard, especially as Christian. But I think that I think about what I want.
Mhm.
I think that in a good marriage, both the husband and wife need to be able to have self-control.
Mhm.
And for me, that I feel like in a relationship while we're dating, if we can't have control over this,
Mhm.
it's gonna be hard to have control over other aspect of our family when we do become a family. So
Mhm.
that is always something that is in my mind that
Mhm.
refuse to let me give in to some of
Mhm.
those urges and so some of those desires, because
Okay.
I want that more than I want to fulfill my need at the moment.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. And on that same theme, earlier you used the word do not settle.
Hmm.
And even in our Adventist circle, right, although it is not something that is publicized or whatever, you may have people who settle just because they're in church, of age, wanting to get married, peer pressure, family, and all of those things, right?
Hmm.
What encouragement as a young person can you expand on that statement that you made, or that word that you used, do not settle, to other individuals, young ladies as well as men? And also talk about compatibility also.
I've been exposed to different type of marriage. different type of home. I came from a single parent household. My parents, they were together and got divorced early on in my life. Um, so I know what I don't want. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that I had to figure out what I do want. What do I want a marriage to look like? What do I want a family to look like? Um, so when I think about that, and when I've seen people who have settled and they're in a marriage where they're not happy, they are not really communicating with one another. And so I don't want that. And so I always think about my relationship. I want it to be a testimony of God's love.
Mm-hmm.
When you settle, it's really hard for you to be able to do that, to be able to fulfill the will of God as a union when
Mm-hmm.
you are with someone who's not like-minded, someone who is, you guys are unequally yoked.
Mm-hmm.
So, settling would just be for the moment, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not sustainable. The longevity, it's not for it's not going to be able to go through hard times where you're going to face like miscarriage in a marriage. You're going to face like, death and all these things. You have to be able to be with someone who can be there for you. And then,
Mm-hmm.
just on looks and, the quick stuff is not going to last. I think I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
for a longevity.
True. And also in terms of purity, right?
Mm.
Our young people find it also very challenging to remain pure. And they may be exposed into wanting to experience very subtle ways,
Mm.
of getting involved with the opposite sex. What can you as a young person say to that issue?
I can definitely agree. And you've said something that's very important is the exposure. A
Mm,
lot of time we expose ourselves to different things that make those desires even greater for you to, and participate in things that you should not be participating in. So I think that it is harder
mhm,
now more
mm,
than ever
mhm,
to not to engage in those things that may not be healthy as a single person,
mhm,
looking for a relationship that is that reflects God's love for the church.
mm, mhm. Do you think there are consequences to being single?
Consequences to being single.
Mhm,
I guess one consequences I would say is when you get too comfortable being
mhm,
single, it can be a little harder to now start merging someone else into your life. I guess I would say that. Also there's a lack of growth that needs to be done that can't take place when you are by yourself.
mm,
Somewhere, if I'm in a relationship, someone else can challenge me, that
mhm,
me, I can be okay, I see this is okay, but someone else can call me out on something that I did not realize or I did not notice. So lack of growth
mhm.
can't really is one of the consequences, I guess I would say, being single.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
In your experience, I think I asked you that earlier, but if you get to expand a little more, right? You personally, as a young person, you're dating the opposite sex, a young man. Um, has he ever, or did he, whether it's a young guy or your friends, right? Did they ever point out a character flaw to about you that to you that you agree with you? You know what? Yeah, that's a flaw, and I need to work on that. And how did you take that criticism?
I'm one of the individuals that I love getting feedback from work, school. I think that guys, I've come to the realization that guys are a little bit like apprehensive about giving feedback to even female friends about, because they're a little bit scared. They don't want to hurt your feelings. So I have not really, I've thought about that. I haven't really gotten like feedback from the opposite sex of things that I could improve on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that from my own self-reflection, seeing that, okay, these are some of the things that I could improve on. Like for instance, like patient. You
Mm-hmm.
don't realize how much you like patient when until you're in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
because now you're dealing with someone who come from a different background, who is used to doing things his way and his pace, and
Mm-hmm.
you're used to that. So now you kind of like have to have patience to be able to, you like this person, you want to make it work. You don't want to get frustrated so easy and just kind of like be combative. So you having to have that patience. So that's something that I'm always working on.
Okay, very good. We know that our time is not God's time, right? But in 5 years from now, where do you see Kathy?
5 years from now, I would like for Kathy to be in a healthy relationship. I would like for her to be in a marriage, maybe with a newborn.
Okay. So you're looking for the whole package, right?
I want the whole package. I do.
Okay. No, I like that. So would you mind if we were to put your information out there that, Kathy Volcy, she's single and she's actively searching?
Sure. Sure, that's a soft yes.
That was indeed a soft yes. Yes. Okay, tell us as we wrap up this conversation, Kathy, how comfortable are you in terms of the different dating sites, browsing through them and looking for someone on this site? How comfortable are you with that?
I am not comfortable with that. Like, I've actually, one of my friends, close friends, have met her husband on a dating site. But for me, I find it like I can't wrap my head around that concept. Like, I'm trying to. I've actually create an account and deleted the same day. So I don't know. I'm still finding it a little bit weird. But yeah, we'll see. But as of right now, I'm not on any dating site or anything like that.
Why is that? Is it because you appreciate seeing the person in person and being able to read the person? Are you able to read better that way? What is it?
I appreciate friendship. I appreciate growing with someone. I think that when you get on a dating site, for me, it's been hard to kind of like see someone, just to think about seeing someone with a picture and then just like, hey, I like you, and based on what you look like, and just trying to like text, I don't know. And it's hard to find people that you would want. Like for me, I refuse to date outside of like someone who's of my faith. And that pool on a dating website is very, very small. So I think that you find a lot of others than you find things that you actually want.
Okay.
So
you seem to be a very personable, engaging, happy type of person. Have you had any lows though?
Any lows?
Yeah, and when you think of yourself as a single, have you had any moments where it just brings you down, depresses you?
Well, not necessarily with my single season, not in my single season, but yeah, definitely have had lows in my life. Recently, I lost both my mother and my brother, so that was something that was pretty hard. And at that time, I was dating, and so even in that, I felt like what I needed from that person, I was not receiving. In that relationship, need that support, that oneness, and I didn't get that. So that plays a lot of not the relationship not working out. But I've definitely have some lows, and I think that I'm very optimistic. I believe that God turns the mud into something that he can like sculpt that is beautiful and pleasing to him. So I'm always looking forward to that. So I keep a smile on my face because he's been good. He's been good to me.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss. I really am. But I just realized that even in that moment, even that sad moment, it was an eye opener for you in terms of relationship, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. So I just got a cue that our time is fast spent, but I would like you to just share with us one final thought about any scripture, any song that helps Kathy even when she's happy, when she's sad, how do you keep yourself motivated, elevated?
I think there's many scriptures. One of my favorite scripture is, for I know the thoughts that I have for you. So in Jeremiah, and he thinks of me, he has planned for me. So if I just submit to his will, you know, all things, the desires of my heart, as long as they're according to his will, he will provide unto me. So I, you know, those push me, those, they keep me moving, keep me pushing forward, and just, you know, having faith that God, like, he will handle everything.
Amen. And with that, I will say a big and hearty amen.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much, Kathy, for
No, well,
joining us and
thank
sharing
you for
your
having me.
thoughts and experience with us. It was such an edifying conversation, and I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Bye,
Thank you for
everyone,
having
and
me.
see you next time.